Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Raise.Dev Hacktoberfest Help Desk. My name is Joe, and I'm your host for this evening. Thank you for joining us. If you're new to the show, the Hacktoberfest Help Desk is your resource this Hacktoberfest to get help with all things open source, Hacktoberfest, landing your first pull request, that kind of thing. We are here 3 times a day throughout October. This is our third and final show of the day today, and we have another very special guest who will be joining us very shortly. But before that, a couple of things to note. As I said, we're here to help you. You can do that in 2 ways. You can ask questions of us in the chat as we go along anytime, whether they're related to what we're talking about or not. We will do our best to help you during the show. And if we can't help you, we will make sure that we get that question answered for you as soon as we can after the show. And on that note, you can submit questions to us in advance anytime at raise.dev/Hacktoberfest, or you submit a question at that site. We get that in front of our lovely guests who have all sorts of wide-ranging expertises and specialties. And we then, they review it, bring it to the show and answer it here live for you. And if you can't tune in live to see your question answered, we send you the recording right after the show. So you can find that at raise.dev Hacktoberfest. As I said, we're here 3 times a day all throughout October. You can see our schedule for the week now at twitch.tv RaiseDev's schedule. At the end of the show, I'll do a little bit of a teaser of what's to come for the remainder of the week. We refresh this schedule every week, so it currently is the schedule for this week. Our schedule for next week will get up over the weekend at some point. So that's all of that. The last thing for me before I bring on our guest, sorry, 2 things for me before I bring on our guest. Who are Raise.Dev? Why are we doing this show? Why do we care about Hacktoberfest? Raise.Dev is a resource for you to help you level up your coding skills and get into where you want to be in your career. Whether it's your first job, your second job, you're trying to get promotion, you're trying to move from mid-level to senior, whatever it is, we're here to help you get the experience you need to make that transition in your developer career. And we do that via matching you up with one of our expert coaches who will spend time with you, working on your career, working on development skills, and getting you to where you need to be. While we're in early access, we are completely free, so you can sign up and get matched with a coach today. Not exactly today, because there's a little teeny bit of a wait list. So that is not an instantaneous process, but it is a genuine wait list. We will get you matched as soon as we can. It's just they're genuine calls with real coaches. And so it's currently taking us a little while to get through the queue because we had quite a few people sign up, which we're very thankful for. Thank you very much. But if you sign up today, you will get matched. And don't be worried about the wait list message. It is not like one of these like early access apps that's like, oh, first 1,000 people, now move on. Genuine waitlist. And then the second thing from me, as I said, you're super welcome to post questions in the chat as we go. However, and someone will always not listen to this instruction, so I'll repeat it very slowly. If you post a link, the internet is a terrible place, so we have a moderation bot. If you want to share a link to something you're working on or a blog post or a useful resource, we would love that. That's super cool. Please do share those resources. However, please @RaiseDevs and let me know you're going to share a link so I can add you to the permit list before you do so. Otherwise, our lovely mod bot will put you in the corner for a couple of seconds. It's not a big deal. But please let me know because once a show, I always have to laugh at someone getting themselves banned. So if you're going to post a link, give me a heads up and I'll make sure you don't get banned. So finally, that's everything from me. I'll add our guest now to the stage. Please welcome Lizzie. How you doing?
I am good, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, I'm wonderful. I'm full of far too much energy than I should be for this time of night. Would you like to introduce yourself to the folks on the show?
Yes. I'm Lizzie. I'm a developer evangelist at Twilio, and I'm based in San Francisco. iOS and web developer, but I haven't actually touched iOS in too long.
That's totally fine. So we're going to be, I guess, to give an idea of what's going to happen on the show today with Lizzie, we're going to talk a little bit first about Lizzie's developer journey, which I'm very excited to talk about, and how you ended up in San Francisco and all these fun things. And then we're going to move on to reviewing some iOS code, which I guess is why, well, some Swift code, which I guess is why we got the warning. And this is part of a fun thing we do on the show quite a lot, which is we review either people's old code or stuff they're working on right now or projects they maintain. With the old code very much from like a place of growth and looking at like how we've done things differently to how we do it now. And given that you haven't looked at iOS code for a little while, I imagine we may have a little bit of that. I've never looked at iOS code or Swift code at all. So this is in a long theme of things where people bring stuff to the show that I'm completely clueless about. So it's going to be a good time. So yeah, I guess let's kick off. So you and I first met in San Francisco a couple of years ago in the context of you interning at Twilio at the time. But I know you've done some other things. You've done some development at a couple of places. Where did your developer journey start? Like, where did your career start?
When I grew up in the Bay Area,
Cool.
But none of my like immediate family worked in tech.
Yeah, right.
Like I was not a STEM person. Like
Yeah.
I barely passed AP calculus, and I was like, why am I doing this? But at the end of high school, I decided to go to this all-girls coding camp for one
Right.
day,
Hmm.
and I was all like, "Why am I going?" But my mom was like, "Go," and I ended up really enjoying it. I
Right.
think I had all these preconceived stereotypes about computer
Interesting.
science. I was
Right.
like, it's all these guys and like
Yeah.
people. They wear jeans and t-shirts and they like
Yeah.
sit in their dorm rooms and code in the dark at 2 a.m. And all the instructors were
Yeah.
students,
Hmm.
and like they play volleyball, they like
Right.
do yoga, they dress nicely, they had
Yeah.
hobbies, and I was like, they made programming seem fun and like it's
Hmm.
problem
Hmm.
solving,
Hmm.
and it's looking at the world around you and saying,
Yeah.
I can help people or I can solve this problem.
Hmm.
And it's like a jigsaw puzzle, it's a game, it's a puzzle, and it just was a great introduction
Right.
for me. I don't remember
That's
like
awesome.
what I wrote, but like
Right.
I remember it like leaving like,
Yeah. That's super cool. Why was your mum so keen that you attend the camp? Was there like something that had triggered her to like think this was a good opportunity in particular?
I used to want to be like a middle school math teacher,
Right.
and let me tell you, people treat you better when you say that you're studying computer science. And I
That
think my
makes
mom
sense, yeah.
is one of those people, even though she
Yeah.
was like, you can do whatever you want. But she was also like,
But within these narrow bounds.
yeah.
Interesting. Yes, unfortunately, the way our society teaches teachers is pretty dreadful.
Yes.
So okay, cool. So that was your kind of like first, and you said that was high school.
High school.
Cool, awesome. So I guess from there that prompted you to decide to then go on and study at university.
Yes.
Awesome,
studied
cool.
computer
Or college,
science in
rather.
college. Yeah,
Nice,
same
awesome.
university.
Yeah. Sorry, the British is sneaking through. Cool. So I guess at that point, that was like, was there? So my understanding of US college, from the standpoint of a student taking a degree, is very different from what we do in the UK, in that like you get to do all kinds of stuff, and it's not so in the UK. I guess this is the other way around. In the UK, when you choose computer science, that's literally all you do. There is nothing else. It's just computer science 24/7. There's like you don't have any other classes around anything else. You only do the thing that you're going to college for that degree for, which I understand is very different to the US system, where you it's actually rather, well, not small, but like it becomes the majority of your degree, your major, I guess, but like you still get to do other things. So were you structuring your degree in that way and still mostly doing computer science throughout your degree?
Mainly computer science. In
Yeah.
the US, you can get like a Bachelor of Arts or a BA,
Right.
which
Right.
is what I did. And you can have like your computer science major.
Yeah.
You have fewer requirements. So I took some
Okay.
English, philosophy,
Right.
history,
Hmm.
poli-sci. But if
Nice.
you take a Bachelor of Science, a BS, you do have more requirements. So I think
Okay.
that's slightly more like
Right.
the UK. But they
Interesting.
still have like, depending on the school and the program.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, awesome. So obviously you're studying, and I guess you started doing internships. Like, what was your first kind of experience with a developer job?
Yes. I did a virtual remote internship
Yeah.
for iOS
Cool.
the semester before I was a developer evangelist intern at PubNub, which
Nice.
is a startup in San Francisco, but they now have offices in the UK and I think
Yeah.
Poland.
They do. Are they still a startup? They've been around a million years.
They have, but they're still pretty small. They haven't gone
Cool.
public.
Right.
Have not been acquired yet. They do publish and subscribe APIs.
Yeah.
Thank you for that link. I was gonna.
No worries. We were talking about Pusher earlier today, so this is similar to that. If anyone watched.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I remember my manager at the time, Tomomi, used to mention what's his name, Phil.
Phil. Yeah.
I was like, I miss having like a rival evangelist. Like, not that he was like a rival, but like.
Right. I know what you mean. Yeah. I also didn't realize Tomomi was that PubNub.
She was maybe 2 years. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He was there.
Very cool. Awesome. So that's super interesting, because you said your first internship was for developer evangelism. How did that happen? Like, how did you? So we've had a couple of developer evangelists or people in developer evangelism spheres on the show, and like one common theme is like, it's not necessarily like something you get exposed to like through education, or like no exists other than like stumbling into one in the wild at an event. So for you, what was like your introduction to the fact this role existed and that it was a thing you could do?
I think it's because I went to a lot of college hackathons. Computer science was hard and it's very
Yeah.
theoretical.
Right.
So I'm glad that I found the hackathon community as
Yeah.
like, to apply. It was more real world. It was less algorithms and data structures. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
building.
Right,
And then I remember talking with evangelists and advocates. And I was
right.
like, you get paid to help me in how? And if somebody like wanted to be a teacher, I was like you
Nice.
can do it all.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's very funny. It's very similar to when I first became an evangelist. I was studying for a PhD in programming languages, and like the reason I did that, yeah, I dropped out
Oh,
because of evangelism. Yeah, but it was because like the reason I did that was like, oh, I want to do something that helps people who program, and so like I'll go study programming languages and make a better programming language, I guess. And then I encountered evangelism, and was like, oh, this is actually a far better way to do that, and I get paid for doing it, so like I guess I'll do that instead.
oh, why didn't I know this about you? I love that.
Everyone on the GitHub education team is secretly a dropout. That was how it happened. So on from that. Okay, so that's super interesting. So I guess if anyone who hasn't been exposed to the US college hackathon scene, because it is super unique and a special thing, like, can you explain what one of those hackathons is like?
Okay, I keep on hearing how it's different from the UK or the Europe scene, but like,
It's not super different from the UK, but I think that's mainly because we copied y'all. But like, it's different from a lot of mainland Europe, and it's definitely different from like I mean, India is starting to have a very similar scene, but like what they currently have is very, very different vibe in terms of like, I guess like the reasons people go and the competitive element. But yeah, so I'm completely stealing your thunder.
okay, let's see now.
Yeah.
I think the first hackathon I went to was like one of the last good ones, in my opinion. Like
shade.
No, not shade. Like, I still go as an evangelist for work.
Right.
But, like,
right.
Now there's like so many.
Yeah, and it's also not the same when you're there for work as it is when you're a student, and it's yeah.
And like now people go like just to network.
Right. Right.
They're like, here's my resume, and I'm like, oh, like I'm fine with that. Like, send me your resume. But
yeah.
Back when I was a freshman, first year in college, it seemed different. Like, it was back when people didn't feel like they had to go to get a job or an internship.
Right.
Where like I didn't plan on networking. I didn't network. With like, people who worked at companies.
But incidentally, because they were there and you were interested, and yeah.
Like I didn't ask about jobs. I asked about like industry. Oh, sliders.
I'm louder than Lizzie. Sorry, we don't have any in our stream platform, but I can turn myself down.
I did move my microphone closer to me. Hope that helps.
That does help a little bit, but also I'm just a very loud person, so it's probably just me.
And I'm standing and like I get excited, and I was kind of far away from my mic. But okay, I'll try to talk louder.
Am I still audible? Can you still hear me?
Me? Yes.
Yes, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll also sit back a little bit. Let us know if that's okay, Marcin. Anyway, sorry, so go ahead. So you were saying, great, awesome.
I think the U.S. college hackathon scene back maybe how many years ago? 6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
What's time? Like
it doesn't matter this year. It's March. It's still March.
It does feel like March. Yeah. Like students will go on buses funded by the hackathon. Like I went from Philadelphia to New Haven in Connecticut, and that was like maybe I'm bad at the time. 6 hours?
Yeah.
And like you would get like all the Philadelphia area schools, all the colleges in the same area.
Right.
Would get on a bus together. And it was like a bonding experience.
Yeah.
And then we'd leave Friday morning, we'd get there by Friday night, and then we'd check in. There'd be a big opening ceremony. And that was back when they were like more API demos.
Right.
I think, and nowadays it's like, here's this slide. Here's some slides.
Yeah.
And
everyone was trying to do which I guess is now like your life, the Twilio. Everyone was trying to make their own version of the Twilio like 2-minute demo where they had to like get their API demo done live on stage as fast as possible, and now no one does that. It's too scary.
No one does that anymore.
Yeah, I mean it's terrifying. It is. I remember when I first my first evangelism gig was at PayPal, and we were very much at the time trying to okay, how can we do like a 5-minute demo like equivalent to the Twilio demo? And I remember the first big opportunity I'd been given to do that was at PayPal's own hackathon in London, and it was like my city, my community. I was allowed to do the demo, and it didn't work on stage, and I was just like, nope, that's it, I'm done forever, walking away. But yeah, okay, so lots of really cool demos on the stage, and then after opening ceremony,
lots of workshops, and I just remember like being surrounded by people with like really cool ideas, and like I remember
Yeah.
maybe it's because I was like a wide-eyed, naive freshman, like first
Right.
year. I thought like these people were so cool. Not that I don't think they're cool now, but like I think there's nothing like when you're a beginner and
Yeah.
like this is all new to you,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's like now it's not new to me, so I'm like less like in awe.
Yeah. Yeah. I think jaded is the word that would be a big yeah. Um. So what was in particular that was like really exciting to you about that environment?
I feel like there were all these people who were giving up their weekends
Mm-hmm.
to just hack away and like learn, go to workshops,
Mm-hmm.
and work with the team. And I think I was still getting used to the idea that programming could be a team thing
Right.
versus like the stereotype that I had in my head that was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
coding in the dark by yourself.
Right. Right. Especially, I don't know whether you do group activities the same way that like our universities did in the UK, but like there was always kind of that impression that group projects in like CS courses in the UK were like purposely made to make you hate each other. And so like actually doing group projects with people you enjoyed working with and like wanted to work with on was like a very novel experience, I think, to me when I first started going to hackathons.
Yes, I agree. Like in the US, like I hated group projects for school.
Yeah.
I was like, communication is hard.
Yeah.
Like even at hackathons, I remember like this one time I think like I kind of failed.
Right.
Like I was assigned to implement what the Braintree API in Swift,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I did not do it. Like, and then someone like picked up the slack for me while I was sleeping.
Yeah.
Communication is hard.
I mean, that API was hard, I can tell you, because my demos failed with it all the time. Who was that with? Who was the evangelist of the hackathon? Do you remember?
That was Justin Wu.
Nice. Oh, I miss Justin.
Yeah, and he was like one of the first evangelists that I really talked to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, and like he told me about evangelism and
Yeah.
what he did,
Yeah.
what he was working on,
Right.
and I think that's another stereotype that was kind of like smashed for me of like
Right.
instead of like being just someone who like a code monkey,
Right.
you can be a code monkey, not monkey, who like talks to people and like
Yeah. Yeah.
can
Right.
communicate.
Yeah, for sure. And also that there are like code adjacent jobs that still let you do code, but like not behind your desk 9 to 5. That's like one of the reasons we like to cover this kind of thing on the show is like we're a lot of people who come through Raise.dev are like early career, and lots of people in Hacktoberfest are like taking their first steps in open source. And it's like I guess any skill, the only thing you can do with it isn't necessarily like software engineering behind your desk. There are other places it's used. So yeah, it's nice to get that wider perspective. So I guess we'll kind of get around to like some of the things you do in your day to day as an evangelist in a bit, so we can touch a little bit more on that. But yes, I guess back to your first internship. Like, what was that as like someone in college applying for a DevRel internship? Because they're still pretty rare. And actually, I think I remember talking to you about this like during your internship at Twilio. Yeah, that like there's like the golden goose internship. What was that interview experience like? Like, what was their like intern evangelism interviewing like? And I'm asking that from a place of I think all evangelism interviewing processes are bad. I don't think we as an industry have worked out how to interview evangelists yet. So I'm very intrigued how they did it at an intern level.
Okay. I wrote a blog post about this, about like
Really?
the whole internship. Okay.
Nice.
First one was like a phone screen.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty typical of even software engineering internships. Kind of like getting to know you, your background, like kind of like regurgitating your resume. And you're like,
yeah.
And you're like, what's the point? Like, you've seen this all. You want to like, I guess maybe just like screen.
Yeah.
Sometimes with the recruiter,
And it's different hearing it from someone than seeing it on paper, I guess.
This was with Tomomi.
Cool.
No, maybe this was with HR.
Okay.
I think it was Tomomi.
Right.
Yes, it was Tomomi. And then the second one was with Tomomi's manager, who was out of office, Josh.
Right, okay.
And I remember thinking, this is like the same thing, but with someone else.
Right.
And then I was expected to make a PubNub app. So I like this ask in an interview of, you're not doing like a whiteboard, you're not live coding, like really like implement this algorithm.
I'm doing something completely irrelevant.
Yeah, like do it on the spot, like in a Google Doc. I think I did that for my Google interview once. And I was like,
really?
oh, yeah, in a Google Doc. Like, At least make it color coded or something.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. And so I made a PubNub app, and I think I was
Yeah.
given like a week or two.
Mhm.
But I remember Tomomi was like, "It's very casual, like
Mhm,
no
mhm.
pressure," and I was like, "Pressure." Sent over a GitHub link. I forget what I made. Something, maybe a PubNub chat app.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the last interview was with the CTO,
Right.
Steven. And I think
That's scary.
Yes, but it is a startup, so like
Right.
I think like something as a side tangent, something like what startups is like
Yeah.
the ability to get to know everyone.
Sure. That it's like still small enough when you. Oh my god, what's that number? The number that like after it reaches that number, it becomes impossible to know everyone in the group. It's like 150, but I can't remember the number. Anyway, it's not important, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And with Steven, the CTO, I had to walk
Right.
through one of my GitHub repos,
Mhm.
and I like walked through the code, and like I didn't prepare for this,
Mhm.
so I was like, yeah, I wrote this line, and I meant to do this,
Yeah.
and I probably could have done this better. I honestly like think I BS my way through that because I was like, I'm walking through some code I did probably for a hackathon.
Right.
Because most of my GitHub code was from hackathons.
Right.
And I was probably like, I had a teammate and we had to work together. Like, I'm not sure. So, as a heads up, be prepared to walk through anything you've written on GitHub. It is public.
Right.
I think that's just a good.
And this is not at all advice relevant to the back end of our show, where we're going to go walk through something on your GitHub. Okay, awesome. Well, obviously that went well because you got the internship. And what was that intern experience like? How long were you there for?
I was there for 3 months
Mm-hmm.
in the summer, and then I did like a little bit during school.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Nice. That's a good length. Oh, sorry. Someone's posted in chat. I've been called out for not having a good README for GitHub projects before. Yeah.
Oh, same with commit messages. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Marcin in chat knows a thing or two about getting called out about commit messages, don't you, Marcin? King of the double question mark commit message. So yeah, okay, awesome. So 3 months is a good length of time. And what did they, as like, so I guess I imagine everyone in this chat, we've covered developer evangelism this morning when we had Layla, one of your colleagues, on this morning. But what kind of activities were you doing in like a DevRel internship? Because I imagine like DevRel is a job that's very heavy in travel and like being in front of people. Was there any like lightening of that load for interns, or were they just straight like, cool, you're here for 3 months, get on a plane?
I did not get on a plane as an intern, but the interns the summer after me did, and I was like so jealous.
Cool. Right.
But I did a lot of blog posts.
Cool.
So I made apps that use PubNub,
and
then I wrote tutorials about them.
Nice.
Gave some workshops that were like in San Francisco or in the Bay Area. So I did get on the subway, which was like, whoa, subway. I went to a lot of meetups.
Right.
A lot of meetups. I think I got a bit burned out from going to meetups.
Yeah.
Like that's like
That's
going
definitely
as an
understandable.
attendee,
Yeah.
like gave some talks at meetups, but like for the most part it was mainly blog content. Oops.
Right. Yeah, people constantly ask me why. Well, my friends constantly ask me why I don't eat pizza, and like literally just the reason for this is like when you go to tech meetups for a living, I had to draw a line somewhere. Like I had to make that decision very early that was just not going to be something that was going to be tenable for my lifestyle. I've been seeing far too much bad meetup pizza. So what was your like? Were there any like Bay Area meetups that you really enjoy or think of fondly?
SF HTML5.
Okay.
It's more of like a web dev meetup, but it's still like called HTML5.
Interesting. Yeah, I was about to say that kind of shows like its age and where that meetup comes from. It's funny how there's like some meetups that keep names that are of a very certain time. It's stopped now, but a good example of that in London was there was a meetup called the Hacker News meetup, which had nothing to do with Hacker News, and like it kind of part of the reason it shut down was because it wanted to stop being associated with Hacker News, but like it was just of a time when everyone was very into startup news and that kind of thing in London, and so that's what they named themselves. And even like 10 years on, they were still called that, even though they had no association with it whatsoever. Funny how things stick around.
Yeah.
So what was after? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just like really good community with like, the meetup. Like they had some good speakers.
Yeah.
Like some people from the UK came.
Oh, nice.
Like I don't know how they got them connections. I guess also it was run by Google people, so I
Right.
guess they could just be like,
Yeah.
you Google person.
Right. And also, like, everyone in tech is always through SF at some point. So I guess they get a lot of people who are passing through town for other reasons. I saw that happen quite a few times. Donut? Waffle?
Waffle
Waffle
JS. That's
JS?
another
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah. Waffle JS is... I only managed to go once because I don't live in SF. But Waffle JS is amazing. Both because, like, where it happens, which is, like, this food market parking lot.
Yes.
Yeah, really bizarre. And also, like, they literally give you free donuts at the meetup, which is very colorful donuts. Neat. Okay, so after that internship, like, what was next?
I remember going back to college.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this sucks. Like, this is boring.
The internship struggle.
Yeah. But trudged through, so went to some hackathons. Actually, the semester after my PubNub internship was not fun.
Really?
I took computer graphics, which I don't know how it is in the UK or in other places, but at least at my school and at a few other schools I know because I asked other people.
Right.
It's hard. Like,
yeah.
You have to write C,
and
like, you try to, I guess, draw objects with graphics.
Right, and it's very, like, calculus heavy and that kind of stuff.
Calculus heavy, linear algebra.
Yeah.
And, like, you can mess up, like,
yeah.
And then you get, like, a black screen, and you're like,
right.
There's no error. It's just, like, a black screen.
Yeah.
And, like, I just remember, like, crying a lot in the lab, and, like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, what's it called in our school? CG4 GFX? So I didn't do graphics, but so the way our uni worked is, like, you picked a certain amount of modules every year, and graphics module was one that you could take in third year, but it was infamous exactly for those reasons. It's like, if you get the third year, when you get the third year, you're really, like, you've got your dissertation, you've got this big project to do, so you're really, like, tactically choosing modules by that point. You're like, what are the modules that, like, will give me the highest amount of credit that require the least amount of work? And so I definitely remember.
Oh, sorry. Module like a class.
Yeah, so we it's like, it's basically a class, and we had to pick 10 of those a year, 10 a year, split into 2 semesters. So yeah, it was definitely one that was avoided. GRA, I'm trying to find the module. Anyway, this is completely irrelevant. But yes, exactly that. I remember it being like, there was all these whispers of it being really hard because it was C++ and it required, like, a lot of math, and there was all these other third year modules that were comparably a lot easier. So yeah, I definitely remember that being true for us as well.
Oh, that's comforting to hear. Misery makes company.
Yeah. And I swerved that module hard. So Elliot's saying they didn't bother calling his one graphics, they just called it DirectX and OpenGL because they spent because you spent most of your time looking at text and pretending you knew what you were doing. I mean, that's just programming, Blue Hat Brett. That's just, that's how we get through.
Yes, Blue Hat Brett.
Okay, so that semester was rough. So I'm guessing, like, was that the semester after this was Twilio? Was that the developer internship?
This was before Twilio.
Cool.
This was when I was interviewing with Twilio.
Right. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you had 2 you had 2 of these very rare developer evangelism internships. Yes. Very nice. And what was sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I would not have gotten the Twilio one if I didn't have the PubNub one.
Interesting.
Actually, because when I was at PubNub, one of my other interns, the engineer intern,
right,
there were like 3 evangelist interns and 1 engineering intern.
Mm-hmm.
He knew my teammate Sam Agnew.
Mm-hmm.
And one time, Sam was in town from New York, and the whole
right,
evangelism team was in San Francisco.
Right.
And I think it was like for the IPO or like
right,
their summit. They have like
some small event.
Yeah. And then I had a friend Stefan who interned at Twilio, so I was visiting Stefan.
Right.
And Kevin was like, "Hey, I'm going the same day to like meet my friend Sam. You should meet him. He's an evangelist."
Right. Right.
Like, yeah. So then I met Sam. I met some of the evangelists at Twilio, and then when I went back to school, I emailed Sam like, "Hey, does your team need an intern?" And then like that got me in the pipeline.
Right. So you like, so were they hiring interns already, or did you kind of make them make that up?
Twilio has engineering interns.
Right.
And there had been 2 evangelist interns before me, but I don't
Right.
think there's ever been
A formal role spec for it.
like a role
Yeah.
online that you can find.
Right. Nice. That's awesome. Very cool. Is that Stefan Alexic?
Yes, you know.
I do. I know him
He's
very well.
in the UK now.
He is in the UK. He's in London, which is sad because I'm not. But yeah, I know Stefan because I think we must have spoken about this before. He won PayPal Battle Hack one year before he went to Twilio. Yeah.
He used to win so many hackathons.
He did. Yeah, he's awesome. And now he's Facebook, I think.
I believe he's in between roles. I think he left Facebook.
Cool. Makes sense.
He's on the security team. He got really into security.
Yeah, makes sense. Wicked. Cool. So obviously you did an internship at Twilio and you must have loved it because you're there now. So I guess this is a good kind of time to move on to like what your day-to-day, what did this you do and what your day-to-day looks like. So like I know, so Twilio is a lot of evangelists. I know you focus on different areas. What is your wheelhouse?
When I started at Twilio as an intern, we all had our own. I'm blanking on the word. Physical locations, like we had,
see. Right.
Like the Bay Area evangelists would also have like.
Do they call them metros?
Metro, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But slowly we've started to drift away from that, and now we don't really have metros, but we serve language communities.
Right.
For a while, I was serving iOS and web communities, but in the past year or so, I've started focusing more on general machine learning.
Interesting.
So, I guess machine learning as a whole.
Yeah.
Like, I've done a little Python. I tried not to. I took it in college, but like.
Yeah.
You kind of have to for machine learning.
Yeah, for sure. It's
things, but for the most part, I still just do JavaScript mainly. But
right.
General machine learning.
Yeah. And what was it about that area? Like what led you into that area? Because that's quite a veer from like iOS stuff.
Yeah. I guess Twilio got this new product called Autopilot, which is a bot building platform that lets you build a bot once and then deploy it across channels. Like text message, phone calls, Slack, Facebook Messenger, etc.
Nice.
And it integrates with a lot of Twilio products, and it does a lot of machine learning on the back end. So it abstracts it away for you. And I was using this product a lot, like creating blog posts, giving talks. I worked with the product team a lot.
Nice.
I worked on the documentation, gave workshops, and then my manager was like, Lizzie, we should have this experiment where I guess I was slowly going to machine learning events with the team.
Yeah.
Where I focus more on machine learning libraries. So I started playing around with TensorFlow, TensorFlow.js, TensorFlow Python, scikit-learn, Pandas, Keras, and here I am. That experiment has continued, I guess. So I still do Autopilot, but I also do. I try to integrate machine learning libraries with Twilio APIs.
Right, with all kinds of things. Yeah. Very cool. Like, what kind of? I mean, this is probably a complete failing of imagination on my part, but like, what do you have like a good example of like using it with like I guess like the familiar Twilio APIs like the SMS and telephony stuff? Because I can't imagine where that would come up, but I must be very exciting.
Yes. Okay. I'm pulling up my GitHub because I also have it.
Oh yeah.
I did an analyze your year with year in texts with TensorFlow. So like
nice.
It pulls your old text messages sent and it's like, were you positive, negative? It kind of classifies them. And that was in JavaScript with TensorFlow.
Yeah.
And then I did another text classification for Valentine's Day using TensorFlow for Python.
Let me see.
And it was like,
loves me not TensorFlow Python SMS. That's such a good name. There you go.
Yes, that was binary text classification. So it like sorted into those two classes. And then another one is using the TensorFlow PoseNet library to detect poses in a Twilio video app. So you can detect like is someone touching their face,
right?
Where like joints are like muscles, like it can draw like it would draw like a line and like dots, like elbow. It can detect your elbow and like
nice
different points. Like
That's super cool. Nice. And also I've just this is completely relevant for what you're talking about because it's not machine learning, I guess, but I've just run into the JavaScript console methods that are like Taylor Swift folklore lyrics. I'm very into that. That's very good.
Oh, thank you. That was fun.
Oh, is this the PoseNet Twilio video TensorFlow JS?
Yes.
Cool. Sorry, I'm just emptying your GitHub into chat here. I'm so sorry about this. Here you go, chat. Have some wonderful GitHub things. Rad, so I guess this is a good excuse whilst we're on your GitHub to get into some Hacktoberfest Swift code things.
Yes.
Should we have a look at 30 seconds of Swift?
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. So I guess as we get into this,
I will share screen.
wonderful. So if anyone is a regular of the show, or who just got Lizzie just got banned by the bot. Sorry, Lizzie.
No, I forgot.
Sorry, I should have VIP'd you. I tried to VIP all the guests before the show and I forgot.
I was listening to you about trolling, and that happens on. I've seen that happen on streams.
Jeez. Oh, our bot is a monster. Anyway, so the 30 seconds of Swift code. So what is this repo? What is it trying to do?
Yes. It's, well, to look at what I wrote, it's a curated collection of, I guess, easy to understand and digestible, useful Swift pro snippets that you can understand in 30 seconds or less. It was inspired by, there's a JavaScript one, a Python one, and I was all, why isn't there a Swift one?
Right. Very cool. Yeah, I ran into the JavaScript one. We were doing what we call Issue Safari last Monday, looking for projects to contribute to. And I ran into the JavaScript one and thought it was super cool. So I was very excited when you sent this over because I literally didn't know of this project until a week ago. And then you sent me a Swift one. Just like, nice. So I have a lot of questions. First of all, I noticed that how do you use this? What is the project structure? Because it's in a playground. So I guess one would load this in the Swift playground app? I've never done Swift. I don't know what I'm doing.
You could use the playground.
Right.
But it's also in the README.
Oh, okay, cool. Read the README. That's a novel idea, isn't it?
People do that?
Yeah.
I usually don't. Well, it depends.
Apparently I don't.
It depends. You can like copy and paste it yourself.
Cool. Oh, I see here. So the function is just right in the README. Wicked. Okay, awesome. Great. Cool. That makes sense. Rad. So as well as it being in the README, so what's in the so you've got like just the code snippets in the README. So what's in the playground itself?
The playground also has all the snippets, but it's probably not been updated. Honestly, being a maintainer is hard. Yeah. I think in the beginning when people would submit pull requests, I'd be like, oh, you edited the README. That's good. And then I'd also tell them to edit the playground and add it to the playground. Right. But I don't think that they always did. So here are some of the methods. But again, I think the README is the most updated one. Uh-huh. Okay, awesome. Cool. So yeah, I guess where's a good place to start looking at some of these? Is there like... I like the README. I think that's the most... Well, I don't want to say like pretty. Yeah. It looks the nicest. Okay. So there's a warning here that says if you come from JavaScript land, you should be aware this project uses Swift 4, and therefore not all snippets will work as expected in every system. Is that just like Swift versions of the language aren't backwards compatible, or? Yes. Okay. I think so. And I'm guessing that Swift 4 is no longer the current version? Yes, I don't think so. It's been a while. Okay. Yeah, 5.1 came out in 2019. So where are we now? I have not touched this. Well, I touched it today to prepare for this. But until then, it's been a while. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, awesome. Right. So yeah, what are some? So you started in iOS, now you've kind of moved on to like machine learning stuff. That was more because like the API opportunities that came up to you. So what was it that first attracted you to like Swift as something to learn? Like, are there any things in these snippets that are like show off things you really like about Swift? Honestly, no. mainly did Swift because when you go to hackathons,
Right.
I guess you really want to make an app.
Yeah.
And Swift
That was
and
how you do it in
JavaScript.
iOS.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
And I remember I wanted to do this summer program called Make School, but it was really expensive. So I will teach myself Swift instead of paying money to learn it.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
It's
sense.
kind of like there was this opportunity, but then I was like, I can do it myself.
Right.
So
awesome. So I guess you do have the Hacktoberfest topic on this. So if someone wanted to, oh, you've got issues as well. So if someone wanted to jump in it, oh yeah, I think it works with just Hacktoberfest. To be fair, oh, you opened a bunch of issues today.
I did.
Yeah, nice, cool. So yeah, if so, nice. Is this to okay? So I guess I have a bunch of questions. So if someone wanted to, if someone was learning Swift and they wanted to jump in this and update this to like what's going on, where's a good place for a contributor to get started?
Okay, this is good. So you can check out the issues, which are like recommended suggestions of what you can do and add. But I think I'm pretty sure I copied this from.
This is contributing MD. Nice.
Yes, from one of the JavaScript or Python ones.
Cool. Which is totally fair and valid. Like if someone has a good contributing, 100% steal it.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it says there. Yeah. That's also really nice. It reminds me of what are they called? Awesome lists. So you've seen awesome lists? Yeah.
I think I have. I'm pretty sure I started that.
Yeah. Let me grab it for the link. So there's this like thing on GitHub which is really funny, which is like someone just started doing like an awesome list of something, and then like they made this format for like, hey, this is an awesome list of stuff on GitHub, and it's just like loads of resources in a README, and then this kind of like spread out of control, and there were like other awesome lists, and now there's an awesome list of awesome lists. But it's really accessible and easy because like if you want to make an awesome list of something, you just go to your favorite awesome list and just grab their README and like start from there basically, and then you're part of this network of awesome lists. So like I like this idea of the 30 seconds of code, like basically using the previous 30 seconds of code as a template for you to move it to a new language. That's super cool.
I love that you said list of lists. That reminds me of, well, like listception, but also I forget what class it was.
Yeah.
We were working with sets, and there was like empty set of empty set and like set of set of set, and it was like
a set of sets.
Listception.
So kind of where I was going with this after I went with that weird tangent. So you have some issues already open, and they're all marked as good beginner issues, which is something we love to see. Do you want to walk through like what some of those issues are and what were you looking for in those?
Yes. Oh no, the open issues link went to a new issue. Okay.
Oh no.
I will fix that. I need to add the tags, but let's say this one.
I pressed the wrong button. I accidentally left the studio. Sorry. Great, cool. Okay, yeah. So I guess in a project that's like this, it's nice that you can make really simple issues that are like people like the scope is very apparent, and it makes a really nice, easy Hacktoberfest contribution. So where does like the inspiration for these as like good example snippets for Swift come from? So like why printing a string n times? Is there something in particular like you want this among the collection?
I actually saw this Medium post that was like, it wasn't 30 seconds of code, it was but it was like the same idea,
right? And
I think it's just something that continuously amazes me in programming and computer science is how there's different ways of doing something,
right?
Of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Some ways are better than others.
Right.
Some are more efficient. I remember like implementing merge sort without merge sort or something. And I think like this is one of those times where it's like, yeah, you can use loops, but can you try to do it a different way?
Right. So how would you do this in Swift? So I'm guessing this is meant to be done with like maps or list comprehensions or something like that. How would you do this in Swift?
I was thinking map.
Cool. Awesome. Spoilers to anyone who's going to go attempt this issue.
But again,
oh no, my camera's gone out of focus.
I haven't used Swift in a while, so honestly, not
Yeah. Totally fair.
prepared. Like, I would not do this now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, also that's like, we don't want to give too many spoilers to folks who want to come attempt this. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So that's a super easy one for people to jump into. So I guess they're all. What is comma separated?
Ooh,
Is this load the reading a CSV?
That is.
Oh, I see. Cool.
Just like, I guess, is string interpolation.
Right.
Like, modifying a given string.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
Neat.
separate.
Cool. Oh my god, what's going on with my camera? Sorry, folks, that my camera keeps going in and out of focus. Cool. So yeah, some like really great easy ways for folks who have toyed with a little bit of Swift to get their Hacktoberfest contributions. And I guess when they should come along and do a fork and then make a PR. Have you got a PR template or anything you want them to do when they make a PR to this project, or is it just like get it in there?
I do not have a PR template.
I mean, that's totally fine.
I should. I've seen that, and like, I love it when other projects do.
Yeah.
Like, you make my life easier.
Right.
Like,
right.
You make everyone's life easier.
It's mostly a thing in like, bigger projects where they need to like, you need to talk about or have a checklist like, hey, I've run the tests, I've signed the CLA, that kind of thing. Whereas like, those are not necessarily problems that you're going to have in this project, which is super neat. Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, there you go. If folks are looking for an easy to use Swift project to learn some Swift and to build up a useful database of code, 30 seconds of Swift code is a great place to start. And I love the idea that you can download it as a library and then just, sorry, not as a library, as a playground and run it, and have it kind of available to refer to, as well as being able to read it in the README. That's super rad.
I think this is a good project for beginners. I remember like looking for something like, I don't want to say easy, but like user-friendly, easy to get started.
Right.
Some projects or repos, there's like a bigger learning curve or like setup curve.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like, one of the nice things about these kinds of projects is also not having to understand a lot of context about what's already happening in the project. Like if you come into a full app, there's a lot of like, okay, how do they do XYZ? How do they like what kind of features are valid within the scope of this app? What are they looking for? How do they write code? What's their coding standards? That kind of thing. Whereas like when it's a reference of coding snippets, like there's much more. It's not a thing that will compile and work on its own, right? So there's like far less questions, and there's not community to kind of get into in the short amount of time that Hacktoberfest runs for. Yeah, it's useful to that extent. Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much for running us through that. While we're on your screen share, is there anything you wanted to plug or show folks while we're here? No pressure if not. I'm just asking before I drop it.
Not to plug my own Twitch channel.
You're very welcome to.
I will be going live tomorrow.
Nice.
At 11:30 a.m. PST.
Okay.
I go live roughly every week.
Awesome.
I have a lot of guests on stream.
Yeah.
I had Lindsay Scott, the model, actress, iOS engineer, a few months ago.
Nice.
I have a lot of Twilio guests, and I have Google Android developer advocate Megan Mehta on tomorrow.
Cool. Awesome. And what are y'all doing? I'm sorry, I completely interrupted you about to say that.
I'll be, for the first half hour, I'll be playing around with TensorFlow and Java.
Right.
They updated their Java library recently, and I haven't written Java in 3 years, so why not?
Yeah.
And then Megan will talk about her YouTube channel.
Cool.
She's a big YouTuber, and she has a few social media accounts called A Dressy Engineer. And just think it's really cool, I guess, defy stereotypes, wear dresses.
Yeah.
As an engineer.
Yeah, that's awesome. Super rad. Cool. Well, there you go. I've put that up on the screen, folks who can't see it. This Pikachu, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. I think that's between our streams, so we'll try and do hosting for folks who have trouble discovering things by other means. Wicked. Wonderful. Cool. Thank you so much. So yeah, I think that's our time for the day. This is the midnight stream where I start to run out of fuel very early. So thank you so much for walking us through your developer journey and kind of talking to us about like early career evangelism, and showing us a great new project to contribute Swift to. So yeah, thank you so much. Let me put that back up on the screen yet. So people can find you at Lizzie Pikachu on Twitch, and you're Lizzie Pika on Twitter, right?
Yes, I should have been consistent, but
It's all good. We can't all get our favorite usernames. And this is from someone who is, I am consistent, but my username is also garbage. I'm JNA_SH everywhere, which is like not useful. Like it's consistency, but you may as well not have it. So yeah, awesome. So you can find, if you have any questions, you can find Lizzie at these things. Other than that, thank you so much for joining us today.
thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone.
Cool. Catch you later. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Lizzie. That was super fun. So as Lizzie said, Lizzie's show is live tomorrow at Lizzie Pikachu, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. This is our last show for today. So we have nothing coming up next. You're free to go about your day and do whatever you want to do. A couple of things. If you want notifications whenever we go live, you can get those on right here on Twitch by hitting the love heart button, the little heart, and then hitting the bell, the clock. We also that will follow us on Twitch and then give you notifications. You can also find us on Twitter at RaisedDevs. You can follow along. We tweet before every show, and we also have our schedule. Whew, this is really the late night energy that I'm bringing to the stream today. Can't forget words. We have our schedule, twitch.tv RaisedDevs schedule, where you can find our schedule for the rest of the week. Let me give you some of what is to come. We have, so tomorrow, brand new day. We have 2 shows tomorrow. Today was a bit of a Twilio day. Tomorrow is a bit of a GitHub day. We have Juan Pablo Flores coming on for the 4 p.m. Central European time show, 2 p.m. UTC, 10 a.m. East Coast US time. One is on the GitHub Education team, and tomorrow it's going to be a super fun show. So GitHub Education did this really cool thing over summer where they hosted a virtual graduation ceremony for all the students who missed their graduation ceremony because of COVID. And the way they did that was they made a virtual yearbook, had everyone do pull requests to it, and then they used that to generate a Twitch stream, which was the graduation ceremony. So Juan's going to walk us through how that worked tomorrow, which is really exciting. Then we've got Gregor Martis in the evening. Gregor is a freelancer, but one of the projects he works on is OctoKit, the official GitHub API wrapper for the GitHub API. And he's going to be walking us through some pull requests on OctoKit, showing us how that project works. And then we'll get into the head of a maintainer, see how that project, see how the maintainer reviews those pull requests and what he thinks about when he reviews them. And that's going to be super fun doing those live pull requests with Gregor. Gregor also works on some other really cool projects. He works on Snowpack, which we heard a little bit about from someone else near the beginning of this series. Snowpack is a front end build tool whose aim is to kind of make like front end build systems a little bit simpler than we've seen in recent years. And Gregor works with them as well. So that's another cool project that we hope to talk about with Gregor tomorrow. And then on Friday, last stream series of this week, we have PJ Haggerty in the morning show. PJ is going to talk to us about open source mental health, which is an initiative. Let me find that link. It's an initiative to change how we talk about mental health in tech. Here we go, open sourcing mental illness. PJ is going to talk about them and some of their projects with us on Friday. Then in the middle slot, we have Shai, who actually just tweeted about this, I believe. Shai from Contemptful. He's going to come on the show. That's a old code review episode. So that's where we look back at our old code fondly with some small regrets and talk about how we do things differently today. And then the last show of Friday is Frida Casas, who is a alumni of Raise.dev and is now at FortBot. And we're talking to Frida about her time at FortBot, about what that's like. And also we are going to be looking at some issues on the Ruby for Good projects. So Ruby for Good is a collection of projects for writing Ruby for good causes, for places and things that need software that they otherwise can't get it. So we're looking at some issues that you can contribute to for Hacktoberfest that will make a real difference. That's going to be a lot of fun. So Friday's a very good focus day. We've got open source mental illness. We've got Ruby for Good. Yeah, very positive day on Friday. So that's our schedule for this week. The schedule for next week will come up over the weekend. And then the final reminder, if you have any questions that we can help you with, you can submit them to raise.dev Hacktoberfest. And other than that, if we can help you with your developer career, you can find out more at raise.dev. You can sign up for coaching. We're free while we're in early access. If you want to see an explanation of how raise.dev works, you can go to our Twitch channel, go to the highlights, and you can find a video called Bridging the Developer Experience Gap, which is with our founder, John Britton, where he talks through like where Raise.dev come from, why Raise.dev exists, what the aim is, and you can find all of that in that video. We also have some videos with past Raise.dev alums. So there's a video with Ching Ching Lu, and then a video with Sukrit Walia. So you can find those 2 videos in our Twitch channel as well. And they're both Raise.dev alum and talk a little bit about their experiences with Raise.dev and how it helped them as well. So you can find those on our Twitch channel. And then if you are so interested, you can sign up. So that is everything from me. We will see you tomorrow if you join us for tomorrow's streams. Otherwise, I hope to see you sometime before the end of October, before the end of Hacktoberfest. I hope you have a wonderful evening or the rest of your day, wherever you are in the world. And we will see you very soon. Thank you for joining us.